Scott.
Mike, how are you?
We met, but I'm like I
Mike.
think we know each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice to meet you. Absolutely nice to see you
Way
too,
to
Mike.
go on getting this.
Thanks.
We were in Colowee and caught it on Twitter.
I think I caught Hoffman off a little off guard.
But it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Well, it isn't my good friend and nemesis. Thank you for your. It's shit. I thought it was Rick Barnes.
Greg Marshall turned down a last-minute meeting with Jim Center on this one.
I heard Buzz's name circulating for Texas, which I think would be interesting. Buzz is a good dude. I told you how good friends we are, John.
Okay, everybody, I'd like to have your attention for a moment. Couple photos. Okay, at this time, I'd like to begin today's press conference. I'd like to welcome to the podium the Director of Athletics, Mr. Jim Center.
Well, not quite Jim Center just yet. You've got to deal with me for just a second. I'm Brett Ashworth, Vice President of Communications and Marketing here at the Citadel. I'd like to welcome you to today's press conference where we introduce our new men's head basketball coach. But before we do that, I want to make a couple of quick introductions and give you an idea of the flow. First, I'd like to introduce the President of the Citadel, the 19th President, Lieutenant General John Rosa, and his wife, Donna. As always, General Rosa is happy to answer any questions media may have following the news conference itself. I believe I saw at least one Board of Visitors member here earlier, Doug Snyder in the back. It's always great to have our Board of Visitors members here with us, and thanks for being here, sir. Up here with me, I have our Director of Athletics, Jim Center, and our new men's head basketball coach, Deirdre Balcom. What we're going to do is Jim Center will make a couple of quick comments, and then he'll turn it over to Coach Balcom, who will make some comments and answer any questions you may have. And at the conclusion of the news conference, once again, General Rosa, Jim Center, and Coach Balcom would be happy to do any one-on-one interviews that any media may need following the formal news conference. And then we'll transition into a reception. With that, it's my pleasure to introduce our Director of Athletics, Mr. Jim Center.
Well, welcome everybody. Obviously, Colonel Ashworth doesn't know me that well because I'm usually not very quick on the draw with words. I tend to get a little bit long-winded, and I'm going to try to be succinct today, but really tell you the message about this basketball coach and our hire and our process. I think it's really important to, first of all, say thank you for being here. It's great to see all the faces and the excitement that comes with a new hire, and we're delighted to be here and share this time with each and every one of you. You know, I would be remiss if I didn't start out by thanking our search committee. They have done a remarkable job. They had to put up with me for the most part, asking lots of questions and asking a lot of them. And I'd also like to thank our student athletes for being patient. When we made the change, I met with our team and I said, hey, listen, we're going to hire a good basketball coach. Just give us some time to work the process and go through it. And I know for student athletes, it's probably one of the most challenging times because there's a lot of anxiety there. You know, one group of men are gone and the next group of men are coming, and you don't know how that's going to affect you and your style of play and what does this mean to me. So, guys, thank you very much for your patience. I really do appreciate that. Let me start out with thanking our search committee. We had a great panel of folks that were helping us. Brigadier General Harvey Schiller, United States Air Force, retired, class of 1960, was on the committee. Locke Yu, Jan Boone, Dean of the College of Mathematics and Science. Thank you, Dean Locke, for helping us and being a part of this. Doug Carnes, class of 1964. We also had Captain Gino Peluso, retired United States Navy. He is also our Commandant of Cadets and a 1989 graduate. Kelly Simpson, who is our Associate Athletic Director for Internal Operations and Senior Women's Administrator, did a wonderful job representing our athletic department. We also had Ray Bradley, who is a Citadel class of 1992. And last but not least is Chip Taylor, who is our Professor of Psychology on campus as well as our Faculty Athletics representative. So I want to take just a second and tell you about our criteria. And this is really, really important because at the end of the day, everybody that expressed interest, that sent us emails, text messages, phone calls, we started measuring against this criteria that we developed after talking with some of the players, our faculty, our staff, donors, and supporters. It became very, very crystallized in our mind what we're looking for. We conducted, as an example, a couple of meetings where we had former student athletes as well as our Citadel Basketball Association members. And we said, what are we looking for in our next head coach? What's important to us? What's important to the Citadel? The number one thing that kept coming back over and over and over was fit. We need to find the right fit. Frankly, everybody talks about fit. What does that mean exactly? And it comes down to this. We needed to find somebody who could demonstrate that they've been successful, but more importantly, been successful at a challenging military environment like we have here. Someone who's going to be able to embrace what a cadet is all about. In particular, do you know and understand what being a member of the South Carolina Corps of Cadets is about? So this is really, really important. So there are a lot of great basketball coaches, But that doesn't mean that every great basketball coach is going to be a perfect fit for the Citadel. And that's really important to know and realize and understand. And once again, I'll say this word embrace. You're going to hear it a lot. Because it's one thing to say, I understand this place. It's another thing to say, I embrace it. It's who I am. It's the differentiator and why we're going to be great moving forward. It was very, very clear as we talked about what do we need to win and be successful here. This idea of identity. What is our basketball identity? And we looked all around the country at different styles of play. And there's lots of different ways to win basketball games. There's absolutely no question. If you've been in this business long enough, you can see lots of people win games by going slow, going fast. But we were intrigued and we all felt very, very convicted about the fact that we need to have something that was unique to this place. One direction or the other, that was very, very important. Another aspect was having ties to the region. This is a big place and there's a lot of gifted players here, but what we do and where we do it and how we attract players to this campus and this college has got to be probably tied to a region that makes sense geographically. We also wanted to make sure that, because this is a challenging environment and you have to understand what this culture is all about, that we need somebody who basically can outwork, outcoach, outrecruit anybody that they come up against. And that was something that was really important to us. And so finding somebody with demonstrated experience at several different things where they could demonstrate that. As an example, being a cadet, being an assistant coach, being a head coach at maybe more than one institution. Those are all parts of those things that we could look at and see if someone had demonstrated the fact that they could, in fact, outcoach and outwork and outrecruit, the competition. Last but not least, we want to be able to find somebody who's going to be great at engaging both internal and external constituencies. It's important to build a culture here where people want to be a part of this great college and that we are integrated, athletics is integrated, our team's integrated with people on campus and off campus. And at the end of the day, we want to sell more tickets and build a fan base that will enjoy watching our young men play. And we want to be able to provide the kind of tools and resources that our teams and our athletic department need to be successful here. And you do that by building relationships and engaging people both internally and externally. So let me just take a couple of moments, and I'm almost done here, take a couple of moments to share some of Coach's accomplishments. First of all, he comes from a very, very well-respected military institution in BMI. I don't have to tell you who that is and where it's at. Citadel people know about BMI, and it's a great institution, so we feel very, very honored that he would leave there and come to the Citadel. But more importantly, he comes and brings 10 years of experience about what a military culture is all about, and that was very, very important to us. He leaves BMI as the winningest head coach in BMI history, which is remarkable, 151 wins. While he was there, he set over 85 NCAA conference and arena records while he was the head basketball coach there. Pretty remarkable. He's also one of the winningest coaches at a military college over the last 10 years. So he knows how to win, and then once again has demonstrated that he can do it at this level. His VMI teams, this is maybe one of the things that just is the most amazing thing to me. His VMI teams, in the 10 years that he's been there, have led the NCAA in Division I in scoring 6 of the 10 years that he's been at VMI. That's remarkable. I'm just telling you. We're going to get a chance to watch a lot of great basketball, high-paced, fast-paced, high-octane, high-scoring. It's going to be something to see. It really is. And our players are going to be able to execute. It's going to be a fun thing to watch. So, without further ado, it's my pleasure to be able to introduce to you the 30th head basketball coach at the Citadel, Coach Dougal Balcom.
Thank you, Jim. A happy day for me. Can't tell you how ecstatic I am to be in front of you. It's been a long road for me, and first of all, the first phone call I had with Jim, I said, that's a guy I like to work for. He had passion. You just saw it. He had passion in his voice, and I know winning's important to him. And every time in the process, y'all know hiring a coach takes a little while. It took several weeks, but every time he told me he was going to call me, he called me. Every time he told me he was going to text me or send me something, he did, and I really appreciate that in the process. And to the search committee, thank you for the job y'all did. Y'all did a good job. I'm really pleased with the job you did. But thanks, y'all made that process, it's kind of like going in front of a firing squad if you've ever done it. I sit at one table and everybody's around you, and it was awesome. But General Rosa, thank you for the opportunity. I got to meet General Rosa about 5 years ago, and I walked out of his office after an hour and said, I hope I get to work for that guy one day. And so today's a great day for me. I thought the General gets athletics. At a military school, that's not always the case, and I knew when I walked out there you wanted to win as bad as I did, and that's who I want to work for, and I appreciate that. I have some family here. Real quickly, I like to introduce them because I got here because of all these guys. But my mother, Nancy, from Charlotte, best lady in the world. My sister, Kitty, in the back, her husband, Rich. Very seldom is your best friend your sister, and more importantly, you get your best friend to marry your sister, but that's what I've done in my case. My aunt and uncle, Everett and Beverly Newman. My uncle is a diehard Gamecock. He's getting ready to be a diehard Bulldog. But he has been inspirational in my life. My number one fan, my fiance, Amber Bidding, and her two boys, Gray and Cade, are with me today. And y'all can look at Amber and tell that I'm a pretty good recruiter. It took me, I've known Amber since she was 6, I was 10. We grew up together. We grew up half a mile from each other. And it only took me, we dated in high school, and it only took me, guys, 30 years to finally get her to sign on the paper, okay? But it finally worked out. My son's sister, Cameron, and then my son, Travis. Travis is a Charleston resident. He lives over in James Island, which is awesome, but nobody in the world sacrificed more for my career than him. So thanks. Travis, when he was 12, he decided to come live with me. And when I go on the road, the guys won't say, how's your son? They say, how's Travis? Because he's been my assistant coach since he was 12. So thank you for that. Pretty good hands, guys. The Citadel job, everybody says, why the Citadel? It is as close to my dream job as I could have. When I grew up in Charlotte, I'm from Charlotte, the Citadel's only 3 hours away, and I had the opportunity to witness guys go to the Citadel. And I'll be the first to admit, I don't know that in high school at 17 years old, I was tough enough to do that. But guys that were just a little bit extra special, this is where they went to school. I ended up at VMI. When I was growing up, I didn't know what VMI was. I just knew what the Citadel was. When I thought of a military college, I thought of the Citadel. So it's always had a special place in my heart. And then when I was my first college job at Davidson, we played the Citadel and had an opportunity to come down here, and the cadets stomping and yelling. I said, that's pretty awesome. That's a pretty neat experience. At Western Carolina and the Southern Conference assistant, the same thing. Little did I know that one day I'd be standing in front of all of y'all, which makes that really, really special to me. Our style of play, Jim mentioned it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be difficult for my guys here in uniform. Everybody thinks, you know, they run and gun, it's undisciplined. It's just the exact opposite. You have to be a lot more disciplined to run up and down that court every possession than you have to do to walk it up and down. These guys will experience that when we go through preseason conditioning in August and September. It's a pretty difficult task, but that's what our style of play is going to be like. We're going to be up-tempo, we're going to shoot threes, we're going to get the ball in the post, try to get the best shot we can, and then we're going to press and attack and do all the other things. I've been fortunate. I've played the Citadel, I guess, the last six times, and I was fortunate enough to win 5 of those. We're getting ready to turn that around. Okay, it's going the other way. Okay, we're going to change that up. I'm like a turtle on a fence post. You know, I didn't get here by myself. I had some guys that really took a chance on me. Coach McKillop at Davidson hired me as his assistant right out of college. Now, guys, I encourage you to get through school in 4 years. I'm the picture of what not to do. From the day I started college till the day I graduated was an easy 17 years. Okay? When I graduated college, Coach McKillop hired me at Davidson. I worked for him for a year. gave me an unbelievable. We went 25-5 in the Southern Conference, won 14 games, went 14-0 in the Southern Conference. I said, this college basketball thing's pretty easy. But it hadn't been that easy since. I left there, and a guy named David Riggins gave me my first full-time recruiting position. Indebted to him forever because he took a chance on me. A guy with very little experience. And Ed Hoffmeyer, the AD at Tusculum College, hired me as my first head coaching job. And then Donnie White, the athletic director at VMI, who's now retired, saw my team play at Tusculum and hired me at VMI. So those 4 guys are instrumental in my success and allowing me the opportunity, which I'm very thankful that Jim's given me now too. I encourage everybody to come see us play. Give us a chance. We're going to change the culture, and it doesn't start immediately. It isn't a one-time easy fix, but day by day by day, it's going to get better. I met with these guys. They came off their spring break, and we had a 6 a.m. meeting, and everybody was on their stool, and they were very attentive, looked me straight in the eye. A bunch of great guys. All I wanted to do before is beat those guys, but now they're my guys, and I'm excited to have every one of them. I've had a few individual meetings. I've told them how hard it's going to be, how hard I'm going to work on. One of the exciting things about this job on the search committee was Captain Peluso, the commandant, and a very, very impressive man. And I liked what he stood for. We're going to work hard in the core, we're going to work hard in the classroom, and we're going to work extremely hard on the court, because it takes all 3 to be a success. But our goal here is to win some basketball games, okay, and graduate. That's what I'm all about, academics. Hey, from a guy who took 17 years to graduate, academics is pretty important, okay? So I expect you to do what's right. We do what's right in the core, we do what's right in the classroom, and everything else will take care of itself on the court, because I'm going to make sure you're going to do right on the court. But I'm thrilled to death with the opportunity. I couldn't be more happy, and I'm just, great day to be a Bulldog. Thank you. I'll open it up to any questions.
Coach, can you explain why they call you Cougar?
Well, I'll tell you. My dad told me when I was little, I said, Dad, why am I called Duggar? And he told me it was Cajun. But I spent a year in Louisiana. It's not Cajun. Actually, the person who named me is in this room, my Aunt Beverly. I was a month late, and my dad and my aunt said, I can't wait for that little Duggar to get here. And it's been with me 54 years.
Coach, can you tell us, how did you arrive at your belief in the style that you play now?
When I was at Tusculum, I was there for 2 years. We averaged 81 and 84, played fast, but we played packed defense. We didn't really get out in pressure. It was entertaining, it was efficient, with the best I could do with the kids that I had. When I went to VMI, I tried to play traditional, and we won 7 games my first year. I lost a starting point guard and starting post player to honor violations as practice started. 2 kids worked on homework together and were removed from school. At that time, I had to get really creative. I'd always been a kind of a disciple of Paul Westhead at LMU, and I'd watched the Grinnell style in Iowa, and just always loved up-tempo. That's kind of my personality. I just like that. So the first time I ever introduced it to my staff, we took the team to Outback, team meal. And I put up salt shakers and sweet and low packs. The Splenda packs were the offense, and the sweet and low packs were the defense. And we put them in, and we X and O'd right there. And one of my assistants asked a great question. He said, "Do you think that'll work?" And I said, "I don't have a clue." I said, "But I think it's going to give us our best chance." And we went from 7 wins to 14 wins to 14 to 24. Beat Kentucky in Rupp Arena in front of 24,000 people, 111-103. The greatest thing was beating Kentucky was we beat them the way we want to play. We turned them over 25 times. I told the guys that. We turned them over 7 times before the first media timeout. So everybody knows Kentucky, that's probably our most memorable win. But it all originated kind of a philosophy of a lot of different guys that I kind of fit to our guys. And it's been our style of play, our identity, and it'll be our identity here.
I have one more question. How quickly can these guys transition to that style?
That's a lot up to them. It's fun. What we try to do, what my staff and I will try to do, what we try to do everywhere, is we will try to teach our kids how to play like we want them to play, and then allow them to do that. There's certainly structure to it, but it's free-flowing. guys make decisions quickly. They don't have to think, well, I better go set a pick over here. I messed that up. No, the only way you mess up our offense is if you don't attack. And so it's pretty basic. It's very simple. But I think it's certainly effective, and I think it's the best way to win at a military school. In the last 9 years, we've won more games than all the other military schools, and I'm proud of that. You know, we got a unique challenge here, but I think the guys will like it. It certainly helps recruiting also.
How hard to leave VMI, to leave to go to a rival school, to leave to come to the Citadel, or was it not a hard decision at all?
It's always hard if you spend 10 years somewhere. I built great relationships, people that I love and will always love. My players, leaving my players, of course, was the toughest thing, especially when I know I'm going to have to face them twice next year, because I left a bunch of great guys, but I inherited this morning at 6 o'clock a bunch more great guys who will be my guys from now on. It's always a challenge, I think. I will say, in my coaching career, this is my third head coaching job, I have never taken a job at my rival. So when people found out in Lexington, it broke on Twitter Saturday sometime, people would come up to me and say, congratulations. And I say, thank you. Do you really mean that? And they said, yes. I said, okay, you won't boo me when I come back here next year. And say, no, Coach, we won't boo you. But I'm sure people have a lot of mixed feelings. I'm the most ecstatic that I could be. My family is ecstatic. Nobody had more fun putting on blue than my family did today.
I know you're close with Barkley up at CSU. I don't know what your relationship with Earl. What do you think about city rivalry? Do you want to keep city rivalry? I know Citadel CSU stopped playing. Citadel CSU still do play. What are your thoughts now that you're all in different conferences on keeping city rivalries? I'm all for that. The crazy thing, I recruited Earl. I sat in Earl's house in North Charleston and recruited Earl when I was an assistant at Mars Hill. He ended up going to Georgia College. But I've known Earl since he was a JUCO player. Then, great guy. I would love to play him. And Barkley and I are buddies. I do not like playing friends, but if it's the best for the city, I have no problem. I was kind of glad when I got out of the Big South, Barkley and I didn't have to play anymore. But we'll do whatever's best. And I don't think he wants to play us as bad as I don't want to play him. So it just kind of works out that way. He's done an amazing job up there. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks again to everyone for being here. We'll now transition over to our reception. Everyone have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.